Alright. What's going on here, mate?
Well, I put the bloody... I set the GoPro up to film us putting it up, and I forgot to turn it on.
And why is that?
Well,
You're a dickhead.
yeah, I know.
Welcome to Malindi K Expeditions. Subscribe to our channel, like, comment, share it with your mates. We would love to have you aboard as we restore Malindi K to her former glory and we take off on adventures of a lifetime.
Okay, so what I have managed to do is destroy this engine room.
What?
Absolutely made a mess of it. So what I've done is those tanks over there and here, they were water tanks and I didn't like that, so I've turned them into fuel, but they weren't plumbed. So I've put 3/4 copper lines in everywhere, so down there, and the tanks are plumbed in to my transfer pumps here. So what I've got is I've got a AC transfer pump, which is what I use all the time, then a little DC one, and if it gets dire straits, we got a little hand pump there, which works fine. It's not a problem at all. So everything comes out along that line and up into the day tanks there. So it goes up in through there into the day tanks. Now what I've also done is that line that's at the bottom there, that's a balance line. It's to even up the two tanks. Well, over there in that corner, I've teed off and I've run a line from there all the way back to my transfer pumps. So initially what I can do is I can cycle and polish the fuel that's in those day tanks. So we do burn a bit of old engine oil with our fuel, so we run a bit of black diesel, and I haven't set it up properly yet, but where the pressure comes out of the transfer pumps here, that's the pressure line there, I'm going to put a couple of filters, inline filters there. So initially we'll run the old engine oil through the filters and then up into the day tank there. Once it's in the day tank, I need to mix the clean diesel with the old oil. So I can now suck at the bottom of that tank through the transfer pump and then back to the top of the tank. So I can cycle both of those tanks and they'll run through the filters as well, so I can polish all of that fuel and mix the oil and the diesel together. So I can do that with both tanks, but initially I'll just use this tank for the mixing and I'll keep that tank over there for clean diesel. And the generator will have its own little diesel tank sitting over there in the corner. So job today, get some law and order back into this engine room. It is a bomb site. There's floors up everywhere. Alright, job for today. So once we go up the coast, we need some phone signal. Bronwyn is still actively working. She needs the internet, so we need some phone signal. So it will be a bit patchy. We've got a graph on where phone signal is strongest, but I don't want to be hopping from phone signal to phone signal. Crap way to bloody travel. So I have gone into a signal amplifier. So this is what I purchased, a little amplifier, and this is an indoor aerial that comes off that amplifier. So we can put that down in the main saloon, and then we can our phones all just pick up off of there. It came with a little directional aerial. It's very tiny, but it's top quality. It really is solid and top quality. But because we're on a boat, we're moving a lot, I've bought an RFI omnidirectional aerial, which I've mounted right at the top of the mast up there. So that aerial will hook into this amplifier, and then from the amplifier I'll go down to this internal aerial, and then I'm hoping that that'll be all right. But it's not just a matter of buying an amplifier, so it's finding out what frequency your phone operates on and what frequency your supplier is working on. So we've hunted down, we've researched on we're with Telstra, what signal they transmit on, and what signal our phone is working on. So Bronwyn and I both have iPhones, but hers is operating on 1800 megahertz and mine is operating on 2600 megahertz. So it's finding an amplifier that can cover those ranges and an aerial that can cover those ranges. So this one here, as you can see, has from 700 megahertz right up to 2600 megahertz. So this will cover all the ranges for us. So it was quite an expensive little unit. Like, this is $400 because it covers those ranges.
Final touches before we leave. So Des is about to hang a piece of glass here, which is behind our gas cooktop, and there she is right there, beautiful black piece of glass. So what have you put on there, Desmond?
Silicon to stick it all down. It's
neutral cure.
Yeah, well, it's hopefully that should be enough.
I think so.
Did we forget to put the camera on?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. What do you got going on there?
I'm planning. We've got to have some herbs while we're away. We've got...
What's that there?
That's spring onion.
What have we got over
Spring
here?
onion. We've got coriander and basil. And these are bok choy. Bok choy. And then we have a tub of lettuce. So we have some fresh salad happening. And then the next one I've got is tomatoes. Desmond?
Cutting a big ass hole in the wall.
I know, it's pretty scary stuff because this wall is so beautiful, but we have to tie our fridges down before we head off, and so what we've done is push this one back here. We've got the freezer over here. We're going to anchor it at the top of the freezer with these big U-bolts, which I can't find at the moment. Not here. These, they secured it last time and they get screwed to the wall and seconded to the fridge. And then we'll also put a block of timber on the front of it And we've got these little latches, just baby latches, which are doing a great job. So they're holding everything shut while we're traveling. But these fridges, this one will be locked down as well. And this pantry, which was actually beside the fridge, is now going into the hole in the wall. So we're just hoping we've cut the right size hole, because we love this wall. And
we've cut the right size hole.
It's scary.
What I'm going to do now is, because this is a beautiful piece of ply, cutting along with the grain is not a problem, but now we're going to cut across the grain. So because the way we cut, and this spins as it cuts, it pulls the ply off, it's going to splinter pretty heavily. So I'm going to go in on the inside and cut this part from the inside, and should get a nice even cut through there without splintering all the hardwood. So hopefully that'll pay off.
That didn't sound good. Beautiful. That's a really nice cut.
Yeah, I know. I'll finish it with
Beautiful. So one thing I did forget to explain is that this is eventually going to be an appliance cupboard. So all our appliances, which we seem to have many, and there's air fryers and crock pots and all sorts of things, are going to go into an appliance cupboard here. So we'll have some big drawers that can go right back. We're going to get some big heavy duty drawers, put all saucepans and Tupperware and stuff in, and then there'll be like a bench similar to what we have over here, but just across here, and then our appliances will sit on this with a roller door on the front.
It'll come out
and
about here.
Yeah, it'll be as wide as the stairs. It'll come to probably about here, and then it will go back as far as each stair. So very big appliance cupboard. But for now, we're just fitting this little guy into here, and then everything will be secure for the trip and locked down, so we won't have any spills. We've got a little bit of netting going on here this morning.
I am making a cast net. I want to make a fish cast net. So all the smaller cast nets that they use for prawns and everything, too hard for mullet and stuff like that. So I want to make a fish cast net. So this is old net I used to have. I used to be a commercial fisherman for 25 years. So this is a little bit of leftover net that you're not supposed to have anymore, but it was in my parents' place. So I'm just cutting out a little pattern to make a small cast net out of. So that's my agenda today. Hopefully, I don't think I'll have enough actually. So I'm just cutting out 4 sides. I've made it my own pattern, and I just need 4 sides, and I'm just cutting a taper at the moment. So I probably will have to get some more net, because these tapers are a bit big. But anyway, I'll sew them together and see how we go.
Today we cut this hole in the wall to put in a temporary pantry. Like I said, eventually it will be a appliance cupboard, but for now we just needed to secure the fridges and secure a pantry. So we've popped this into the wall. It's got little clips on it which lock shut, and that just gives us a little bit of storage in the kitchen for oils and things like that, because these cupboards are full of cooking equipment and cutlery, crockery, etc. The fridges are now secure, so the brackets have been applied. There's one down on the other side as well onto the ground, and this one has one up here, and also some timber in front to stop it rolling forward.
Alright, so time to get this desalinator running. It's all mounted. I've just been speaking to the lovely guys at Saitor in Western Australia, giving me a lot of tips here on what I should be doing and the pressures I should be looking at. So what I've been concerned about is my feed pump pressure. So it's got a cut-off switch. It's mounted in the back there, somewhere there. So with the feed pump pressure, if it doesn't get up high enough, then it won't allow the system to work. But anything from 175 kPa onwards is great. So all I'm doing is I'm using my deck wash pump. So it does 20 litres a minute. So I've just plumbed in to my deck wash, comes along up, and I've got a little tap there that I'll turn it on. So that's a pressure pump, and that feeds water to the anchor and the deck wash on the stern. So anyway, we've tapped into that, so I'll see how that works. So what he has said is I just need to turn it on, let the water run through the system for a few minutes, and it'll just go through the discharge over the side. All I've done at the moment is just put a couple of garden hoses on here. So I've run that over the side, and this is fresh water here. So I'll get a bucket and put that hose into a bucket. The other thing is I've not been sure about what pressure I need to run the membranes at. So once we get started, we leave it on the start here. The salt water feeds through and out through the discharge there, and when we're ready, we'll switch this to operate, and that'll stop that from going through the discharge, and then I can start winding down and reducing the flow so that we can then get the pressure required to make the fresh water. So basically restricting the flow of salt water through the membranes, increasing the pressure in the membranes, and then squeezing out the fresh, and then this is the fresh coming through here. This unit's got a lot of solenoids on it, so it's pretty fail-proof, I think. But anyway, I'm pretty keen to try this. Yeah, so I've just put another hose on there. So I will crank everything up because we're out on the anchor. I'm going to have to crank up the Jenny and then get everything fired up. So that's the plan. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And I haven't got this wired in yet. It's just got the plug on there. So I just need to get a lead, plug it in, and then we'll go from there. Fingers crossed. All right, so where's my rag? All right, so we're ready to go. I've just got to start this generator and switch it over the ship power. All I've done is just plug it into a lead here. So that's what we'll do just for the test. Once I get it, once everything's operational, I'll plumb all this properly back to the tank and to a little skin fitting going over the side. But anyway, I'll just get this generator started up. So that's on there now. While we're running that, we'll run the hot water system as well. Okay, what we have found. So the unit works quite well. very well actually, but we're not getting any fresh water out of it. So in talking to the manufacturer over in Western Australia, this is where the fresh water comes out of here, and it comes along in here, and this is a sensor. So it senses totable dissolvable solids, and if it gets to 1,000 or below, this will tell that solenoid to open and allow the fresh water then to pass through here and then out of there. This valve is not opening at the moment. It's not opening. So what we've done is I've cracked a few of these here as the fresh water comes out of the membranes. Each one I've cracked just to have a taste. This is what the manufacturer told me to do, just to see if the membranes are buggered or not. It's fresh water. So I've taken this hose off here and taken it out of there and allowed it to run into a bucket for a while, and it's drinkable, but there's a hint of some sort of something there. So if this sensor is sensing that, then we need to replace these membranes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get a TDS meter, measure the water that it's producing, and then we'll go from there. If we can get it, if it's down to 700 and below, then it's good to drink. But if it's above that, then we'll have to replace these membranes, which I'm thinking that's what we're going to have to do anyway. But you know, there's $1,000 just in those 3 membranes alone. So if I can avoid it, I will. But well, that's where we're at the moment. So once we get the meter, we'll test the water, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so we've been doing a little bit of provisioning. Ready for our trip. Des is just running the generator. This bedroom looks very nice. Very, very happy with that. Okay, so this is our provisioning room. And it's our Dan Murphy's on water. I'm pretty sure you could call us that. We've got lots of beer on board. Lots of, well, there's some soft drink, there's some rum. We've got milk over here, so that's our barista milk for our coffee. We've also got some UHT milk, just for cereal and stuff like that. We've put all our products into these containers to try and keep out the moths and the weevils. So everything is packed away in here, and then we've actually placed a lot of stuff into bags as well, so they're individually sealed into plastic bags. Hopefully keep the bugs away. So yeah, this is where all our food is stored, all our cooking. We've got our beer fridge down here. We've got our scooters ready to go, so when we have to go and get provisions, we can jump on our scooters and head into town. So that's our little storage rack. Yeah, so this is where we're keeping everything.
All right, we have tested it with our TDS meter, so it works out that is they're not working. So I think it's like 4,000 parts per million or something. It's just ridiculous. So it's actually not getting anything through. A little bit, but no. So we've ordered the new membranes. So they should be here in a few days. We'll put them in. And another thing I was having a bit of an issue with, this is the, that's what you can hear now, Bronwyn's washing the deck down. That's a deck wash pump, which I was feeding the desal with. And I wasn't getting the pressure. The pressure was good. It was up here before we started the pump, but once we started that pressure pump, it just sucked everything, and she just dropped straight down here. The pressure dropped and the low pressure cutout switch just kept going off. So it was no good. So what I've done is I've bought this little Davy saltwater series pump. It delivers 171 litres a minute or something with about 40 to 50 psi, a little centrifugal pump. So that seems to be doing the job now. I've just hooked it up there. I'm just putting a bit of hose just to try it, but I'll route that properly. So I've got a three-way valve here. So at the moment I'm sucking salt water, and over there I'm going to run that hose up into my pickling bucket so that I can flush the system back with fresh water, and I'll mount that up in here somewhere. I've just got hoses laying around everywhere, just going out through the portholes there, just so that I can test everything, but I'll get rid of all of those hoses and mount a pickling bucket there or something, and then we'll just back flush the whole system. So anyway, so that's where we're at the moment, but I'm hoping to God we can get this working, because we need all the water we can get with 4 of us on board. I have, I'll just show you my Strombox here, my sea chest. Now this works a treat, but have a look at the valves hanging off this thing. I've never seen anything like it. It is incredible. Look at them. A little bleeder at the top there. But this is where I've tapped in this one here for the decel. But oh my God, look at them. Right around the back. Anyway, works well, but.
I am here in the middle of nowhere. There is no there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up. No time to lay, to drift away. I find my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again, and as I fall I can feel the pain.
We hope you're enjoying our restorations and adventures aboard Malindi K. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment or share it with your mates. It's a free way to help support Malindi K Expeditions. Chuck in some fuel money and become a Patreon. You'll find the link in our description. We truly appreciate your support and connecting with like-minded people. Cheers, and remember, the sea is always calling.